Welcome home. This is the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. Come right this way. Have a seat with me today in the corner booth celebrating our 65th week. We've got another full house today, not a chair to spare. Sweeney clear the floor, Katie bar the door, Molly put on another cup of coffee. We got a show to get on the road. I'm Mike OLaughlin, your host. You can reach me on my webpage at irishroots.com anytime, and you can check out the written show notes on my blog with more details on this podcast. And you can also search all of our podcasts by typing in any search term you like. Try it, you'll like it. Oh, and remember, you can also call in on my recorder and leave notes on your family search that I can play in this podcast. You can also leave me some comments if you'd like. That phone number is 816-256-3360. Among today's topics, Forbes is the family name of the week. Searching for Savage, Boggan, Gillan, Dougherty, and Sweeney. Longford Ancestry is today's website. Are the ducks too warm to fly to Northern Ireland? And the book of the week, County Longford Genealogy. Hey, remember to get all three of my free podcasts online. There's a podcast you're listening to right now, which is the Irish Families Worldwide broadcast. And we also have the history of the Irish in America, and we've covered Missouri, and we're starting in on Savannah, Georgia right now. And number 3 is our newest, the Irish Song and Recitations broadcast. You might hear any kind of song or recitation on there. We try to give a little bit of history and make it a chat and sing, so to speak. And your participation is invited on all 3. So do let us know if you're interested. Now let's move down to notes for the week. What's been happening here at the cafe? Well, let me see. Yes, I am going to be in Savannah, Georgia this weekend for the 25th anniversary celebration of the Genealogical Society there. Here's a note from Walt Harper about that event. We sure hope you can be there to join us. Let's hear from Walt.
Hello, I'm Walt Harper, and I'm the president of the Savannah Area Genealogical Association. We cordially invite each and every one of you to the hostess city of the South to join us in celebrating our 25th anniversary. To help us usher in our next 25 years will be the Glorna Aaron Irish School of Dance and our very own Mike OLaughlin. So join us at the Harbor View Room of the Savannah DeSoto Hilton on April the 26th. Cocktail hour starts at 6 p.m. with a cash bar. Dinner will be at 7. The price of the event will be $30 in advance and $45 the night of the event. If you have any questions, you may contact Walt Harper at area code 912-631-3301 or at savannahgenealogy@comcast.net. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Walt. I sure look forward to being there. What else do we have on our agenda today? Let me see. This week, we also have a broadcast out on our Irish Song broadcasts, and we chat and sing about the Irish Lullaby song. That's that one that goes Tura Lura Lura, known by many just as Turaloo. Bing Crosby made that one famous, but it was around a long time before that. And number 3, our webpage report. We're coming along fine. We now finally have the member search list database up that you can take a look at and see what members are searching for. And in the members area, we also include details from each search if it was provided. And let me see, our blog is back up and should be working fine on my blog log right now. And let me see, it's always been up and working well at irishroots.com. And we're going to be transferring some of the earlier podcasts that we made to the members only area too. As time goes on, our members area will get bigger and bigger. And let me see, we have one response to an earlier podcast on a reader search, and Lee Boven said, in response to Olivia Murray of Newport Richey, who's searching for John Cowan in 1845, who immigrated to New Zealand in 1868. Let me see. Lee says, John and Susan were also my great-grandparents. For more information, contact me on the email address above. Unfortunately, there was no email address above on the note you left in, I think that was on Blog Catalog on the web page. So we're looking for you, Lee Boven. You've got a tip for one of our members, but we don't know how to get a hold of you. And let me see. Lastly, number 5. I keep forgetting, but it's been a couple of years, and I think I need to ask you all, if you enjoy the show, please do go to iTunes and leave feedback. You can go in there and search for our podcast, or you can search for simply Irish Roots Cafe. And then if you click on the logo or our name, when it comes up, the next screen has a place for you to leave feedback. And that helps keep our name in front of people and keeps our subscribers up on iTunes. So it will be appreciated. So out of all of you thousands of folks, if just 5 or 10 of you all go leave some feedback, it'll help keep this show on the right track. Well, now it's time to move on to the book of the week. Well, this week's book is the County Longford, Ireland Genealogy and Family History Notes. That's part of our 34-book set on the families of Ireland, and this one, of course, is on County Longford. And we'll just do a quick little extract on the most common and popular names in the 19th century there. And what would those names be? None other than Reilly, Ferral, Kiernan, Kelly, Donahoe, Murphy, Brady, Quinn, and Smith. And I notice there's several ways to spell all of those names. And Donahoe, as opposed to Donahue, up around Longford, you're going to find the spelling and the pronunciation more like Donahoe instead of Donahue. Down in Kerry, it was Donahue, I believe. At least that's my impressions from my research on the Donahue family. Now, what else? What other families do we see here? Let's go to the Annals of the Four Masters and look at that map, which is just about the biggest map I've ever seen on Irish family locations. And what families does it show in the county back in earlier times? Well, it shows Fleming, Conway, Gavan, Cormac, Gilchrist, Gilligan, Hugh, Ferral, Fox, Higgin, Mulfinny, Quinn, Reilly, Ronan, Sheridan, Slevin, and Tuite. Very interesting. That's the end of that extract, so that gives you something to think about if you've got any of those names in your family line. Those were some locations for those families in earlier days, and they had the O and the Mac in front of them, a lot of them, so don't let that discourage you. You can find all those Irish names just about with O's and Macs either on them or taken off them, depending on what time it was and what fellow was taking the census, if you're looking into the records. Coming up later this episode, are the deceased ducks just lazy, or is it really global warming? But now we're going to move on to what we're going to do. We're not only going to move on to, we're going to lift our eyes to the heavens, give thanks, and ask for help on our member searches. And let's hear from our members right now. Here's a list of what we've got 7. We try to do 7 each week. Here's 7 notations on member searches and whatnot. Let's see what we've got. New member Michael Savage of Rochester, Michigan is searching for Savage, Langan, and Lynch. And he's still searching to find out where in Ireland they originated from. And we take a look at his family. You've got a Patrick Savage and an Ellie Langan, and he thinks Patrick was born in Malone, New York. And he's 90% sure Patrick's father's name was John Savage, born in Ireland and married to Catherine Lynch. So if you've got some Lynches or some Savages, or you could lynch some Savages, no, wrong story. Lynches and Savages, anything like that, get a hold of us and I'll get you in touch with Michael Savage, and maybe you can help him solve this family mystery. Number 2, new member Barbara Mickelson of Santa Fe, New Mexico. She's searching for a Boggan, O'More, or Moore. That's spelled either M-O-O-R-E or M-O-R-E. Number 3, new member Catherine Beam Adractus of Fair Oaks, California. She has Rose Gillan, born 1809, and John McLaughlin, born 1806. Hey, we've had some other McLaughlins on here in the past, I wonder. And she says they were married and had 8 kids. I believe they were both born in Corker, Maine townland, Carncastle, Antrim, or County Doe, Gilligan. I'm looking to find their family history, their parents, etc. Well, I sent you a note, Catherine, that County Doe is a little puzzling to me. It could stand for County Down. It could stand for, sometimes you see the DOE written below a name to mean, like a parenthesis, to mean duplicate. So if County Antrim was above the word Doe, it would mean Antrim again. So let me know what that was, and I'll fix that search up. What do we have? But number 4, new member Susan Dougherty of Miami, Florida. And I think she's looking for Dougherty, but you didn't include anything on your membership application about your search. So I'm waiting for that. Be sure to email me that, and I'll get it up and on here, Susan. New member Bill Sweeney of Norwalk, Connecticut. He's looking for Sweeney from Gubnave in County Leitrim, and Horan from Ballaboy, Sligo, and of course Brennan from an unknown county, and that might be the most fun search of all. Number 6, Brian Hutchison of Nanaimo, Canada. Your Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters has shipped. And Clifford J. Stevens of Boys Town, Nebraska. Your Roscommon book has shipped. We'll be looking for more information on the family history of Father Flanagan of Boys Town for you. You know, perhaps we have 1 or 2 listeners that can forward information if they have it. This is a general call for help for information on the family heritage of Father Flanagan of Boys Town. I'm sure if you've watched any television at all, you've seen the classic there. I think that had Spencer Tracy and Mickey Rooney in it, and that sort of told the stories of Boys Town. Well, Father Stevens is looking for more information, and we do know that Father Flanagan came from Roscommon, and he's got some details down, but he's looking for even more. So be sure to get back to us if you have some information out there, everybody. And that reminds me to say thank you to all of our members, because without you, there would be no podcast and there'd be no books. So appreciate your help, and we're always looking for your support. Now it's time to move on to the Irish family name of the week. The family name this week is Forbes. Forbes is the most common spelling of the name. And today's family history is in honor of member Patricia Collins of Kenai, Alaska, who was searching for Forbes, McCurdy, and Malone. And let's take a look at the related spellings of that family name of Forbes. We all can spell it. If you can't spell your name 4 or 5 ways right now, you better learn. If you're researching your family history, it'll widen your scope and might help you find that missing link. You can spell Forbes at the end with either an ES or an IS on it. And you also see it spelled as Forbish, Forbish. And you'll even find it related to a spelling as Klisham, Klisham. And let me see, the last example I'll give you is Forbes spelled Forbesse. People like to get fancy sometimes. I see a lot of that in 17th century records. They stick an extra letter or 2 onto the spelling to make it look nice. And we've taken most of those spellings from the Master Guide to the Various Spellings of Irish Family Names. We've got a link to that on our blog if you're interested, and that was Variant Spelling Group 638 from that book. Let's take a brief look at the history of the name. Now, as you probably know, most of the Forbes in Ireland are thought to be of Scottish origins. You can check out Castle Forbes that is found in County Longford, and the name's been there since at least the 17th century. And that family is also found documented in the Irish Book of Arms. And you'll often see the family referred to as the Earls of Granard, and they descend from the Scottish House of Forbes. And Sir Arthur Forbes was sent from Scotland to Ireland in 1620. He was buried at Newtown Forbes in County Longford, which was a center for the name. Now, the pedigree of Forbes of Clan Furbus is supposed to be of Irish origin, as given by John O'Hart, and he calls them the Irish Forbes. I don't know how much water that holds or not. I'll have to hear from an expert researcher to let me know. But that family that he's talking about was also known as McFurbus. So maybe there's a little interplay between the names Forbes and Furbus, and you can see there is a sort of a pronunciation similarity. And the birth index of 1890 finds the family centered in County Antrim and County Tyrone, so the odds are you're from Northern Ireland if you're a Forbes. And if we take a quick look at the Irish Book of Arms, we've got 3 listings for the name in there, and I think 2 different coats of arms are illustrated in that book. It shows George Forbes, the Earl of Granard, who succeeded his father in 1765, and he married Mary, the relict of Phineas Preston. And when they say relict, they mean widow. Now, we don't say that anymore, I don't think, at least not in my part of the country. But if you were a relict, you were a widow. And number 2 was another George Forbes, the same family, but he succeeded his father in 1780. And then if we go back to Arthur Forbes, the Lord of Castle Forbes, who was first in Ireland in 1722, we find Sir Arthur Forbes, who's a knight, and he was in the reign of King Charles I. And, of course, he was centered up there in Ulster as well, and he was an officer in the army. Well, now we'll move on to the Freemaster Index search of Irish family names found at irishroots.com. And we found the Forbes family name listed about 37 times in the indexes to our books. And here's a few examples. As you might expect, you'll find it in the County Longford Genealogy book, and you'll also find a coat of arms illustrated there. You'll also find a notation about Castle Forbes in Families of County Kerry and in the History of the Clan of Rory. And here you go, Tribes and Genealogies of the High Fiachra. Talks about the Forbes family being of Scottish origins. And what else? King James Irish Army List has the name in the index, and so does Families of County Donegal, Ireland. We have some more detail and a few clickable links on our blog for those sources. Well, it's time to finish up, now that we've finished up with Forbes, to move on to the website of the week. Longford Ancestry is the website of the week, and it's at longfordancestry.com. We've got a clickable link on our blog if you just want to click and go. And that website, they say, is dedicated to the genealogy of the families of County Longford. And from their webpage, that's the best place to see what they think they're doing. So I just went there and picked this up. It says the site is the accumulation of 30 years of genealogical research. It started out, the fellow was just investigating his own family, the Montforts of Middleton, County Longford. And he stretched it out to all the landed families of County Longford. And then lastly, they've widened it to include any family that either lives or has lived in County Longford. So you've got some lofty goals there, and they've got quite a bit of information compiled already. Well, that does it for that. I think we'll move on to Curious News and Notes. Well, what did we find in the news this week that caught our eye? Aer Lingus, the Irish way to fly, they're refusing to honor its advertised fares to the U.S. because the fares were advertised on the web at only €5. Well, they sold those flights for €5, and some people went ahead and booked connecting flights and booked rooms in America and thought their ship had come in. But the problem was those tickets were supposed to be €1,775. My goodness, what are they going to do now? Well, Aer Lingus says, well, we can't lose $1,700 on every ticket we sold. And those folks are saying, well, wait a minute, we're out of luck. We've already booked connecting flights. We can't get some of our money back. What are you going to do? Well, we don't know what's going to happen yet. I'm sure there'll be some adjustments made. Aer Lingus is a good organization. I'll be listening hard to see what did happen, but next time you run off onto a deal that seems too good to be true, just remember it may be. Now let's get back to those ducks. Those ducks deceased. It seems that on Lough Neagh in Northern Ireland, 90,000 diving ducks, they counted them 20 years ago, that's how many there were. Well, they've fallen to a mere 25,000 ducks. And that's just in 20 years, so they're wondering what happened to the ducks. Now, one fella says that it was global warming, of course, because since it was warm, the ducks didn't feel like flying. They'll only fly if it starts turning cold, and they'll fly south for the winter or west for the winter or wherever it is you're supposed to fly. But since it didn't get cold, those ducks just didn't move, so they're staying put. Now, others say, well, the water may be getting bad. We may be putting some pollution into the water, so maybe the ducks aren't coming because the water doesn't suit them. Well, we'll have to be watching this one too. A hat tip to the BBC for that story. I've got a link on the blog to that. And let me see, we've got time for two more stories. The Scouts in Ireland are 100 years old this year, and they have about 32,000 members. And the National Museum of Ireland is featuring a display on the Scouts called Scouts 100, Living the Adventure. Now, one big change in modern times for the Scouts there is that they're now giving community service abroad and not just in Ireland. They're going to places like Peru or Croatia. And I was reading there, and it said that they were dropping some of them into these foreign countries and just giving them a couple of bucks and telling them what places they had to go to, and they couldn't spend any more money than that. And I guess they might have given them a compass and to come back and pick them up in 2 weeks. That almost sounds like a survival school. Very interesting. A hat tip to the Independent. Number 4, calling all McCorleys. The new Rose of Tralee for Belfast, County Antrim, is Miss McCorley from County Antrim. The 17-year-old girl is an A student and won this year's contest that was sponsored by Danny Boy Whiskey. That does it for the news and notes. Here's a last thing for the events. We've got 3 quickies we'll just give you here now that we're running out of time. April 26th is when I'll be in Savannah speaking to the Savannah Area Genealogical Society in Walt Harper. Be sure to drop by for that 25th anniversary dinner that I'm going to be speaking at. I think that's at the Hilton. And for more information, contact Walt Harper at area code 912-631-3301, and I'll have more information on the blog. Number 2, the National Genealogy Conference is going to be at Kansas City, May 14 through 17. I think we're going to have a booth there, so you might look for us. And for sure, the Kansas City Literary Festival is going to have a lot of Irish at it and a lot of Irish on display. Look for us with an exhibit for the Irish Roots Cafe at that festival on the plaza in Kansas City on that Saturday. I believe that's the 17th of May. There's going to be a good Irish contingent on hand. Well, that does it for the day. Remember to send your books, music, or family search to me here at the Irish Roots Cafe by email or by mail to our American address at the Irish Roots Cafe, Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri, 64116. Leave your message or report on things in your part of the world on my phone recorder at 816-256-3360 or Skype me at Mick the Bridge. Members foot the bill so they get first priority, but we're open to all. And by the way, a big thank you to all of our members, and away.